Yo, what up, Jared? I'm good. A little tired. Late night last night. I see we got some people in the chat. Let's see. I'll give y'all some updates on some things, and we're gonna talk Nets, baby. It's a Nets world, and we're all just living in it. Oh, we talking about practice? We talking about practice. We talking about practice? Oh yeah, we talking about practice. Okay. Give me 1 second, and I'm gonna roll. I'm solo today. Late night last night. I was in the Bronx till like 2 a.m. Wasn't going back to the studio today, but we'll talk about some things to come, what's going on right now. Yankees lost yesterday. So, you know what that means? That means I won't be focusing all my time and energy every day on the baseball stuff. I have some more time to get ready for the basketball stuff. NBA. We are close. We are very close. I still want to give it a couple minutes just to see who pops up, notifications going off. And some people might want to watch it live. Some people might want to listen to the pod. Some people might want to listen to it on their own time, and that's fine. You all appreciate it. Thanks for pulling up. We got 3. He gonna do one more. There's so much that we could talk about, but I'm going to keep it brief. I think I put in the tweet that I sent out what the topics are, and I'll go right from there. All right. Ready and in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, sir. Welcome back to Talkin Nets, episode 127. What are we talking about today? There's plenty we could talk about today as Kyrie missed practice. The preseason began. The Nets beat up on the Lakers in the preseason. That was cool. I saw some other games. That was cool. Just to see NBA back on TV. The sports equinox was this past Sunday. We got to see new players in new uniforms and a bunch of new players in our uniform. That's cool. You got to be excited about all the new faces wearing the black and white for your Brooklyn Nets. We got the Bucks coming up on Friday. There's been a trade practice in the park on Saturday. Talkin Nets. Let's get it. Yes, sir. Welcome back to Talkin Nets. It's a Wednesday, October 6th. Keith McPherson coming to you solo dolo, Mr. Solo Dolo. I went to sleep last night at 3:45. I was woken up by fire alarms in my apartment at 8:25. Couldn't really go back to sleep because my mind was racing and thinking about all of these different things. As you all know, I'm a huge Yankee fan. If you're watching, you can see some of the Yankee stuff. As you should know, I also am on another podcast under John Boy Media called Pinstripe Strong. We watched the wild card game last night. The Yankees lost. The season's over, but we recorded right after. End of the season pod. Got all our frustrations out. It went late. I drove home from the Bronx at like 2:30 in the morning. And I wasn't about to get up and drive back to the Bronx today. I also wasn't going to get on the train today. I've been a little under the weather over the last couple of days since like the past weekend, but enough about me. Hudson isn't here today. He would have met me in the studio if we were recording in the studio, but we're not. He couldn't figure out his schedule to do it remote. He's got class all day. He's getting into the grind of things. He should be focused on that. And I'm going to focus on what we got to talk about today. So let's start it off, man. Preseason began. Of course, the favorites, the Nets and the Lakers, face off in the preseason opener, the only opener, the only game for the NBA preseason opener. And what I'll say about the preseason is this: it's cool to watch, it's exciting to see, but it's preseason, just like spring training in baseball, just like preseason in the NFL. It doesn't mean anything. These are glorified practices. They are exhibitions. The Miami Heat played against the Atlanta Hawks, and they scored 74 points in the first half. They were raining threes. Got to see Kyle Lowry out there for the Heat with Bam and Tyler Hero. And, you know, the Heat are a team, and as well as the Hawks, the Heat are a team that I think might challenge us. I look forward to facing them, but that's the only other game I laid eyes on. Now, our game, I didn't watch live, but I did watch it replay on NBA TV. And we'll get to that in a second. You don't want to bury the lead here. Let's see. Our guy in the chat, Julio Dos Santos, says Kyrie needs to go, man. I'm tired of his bullshit. Thanks for the comment, because that's where we're headed next. We support Kyrie over here. Kyrie missed practice. We talking about practice. We talking about practice. We talking about practice, not a game. We talking about practice. Y'all upset and mad because there was a practice scheduled on Monday at 2:00 and Kyrie didn't show up for it. Maybe Tuesday. I don't know when it was, but I wasn't checking for practice. I wasn't going to get upset about Kyrie not being vaccinated and not being able to practice because, again, we're talking about practice. We're not talking about a game. We're talking about practice.
We're here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We're talking about practice. Not a game. Not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last. Not the game. We're talking about practice, man.
Man, we're talking about preseason practice. We're not even talking about what AI was talking about. AI was talking about in-season practice. And ironically, AI, like, because the universe never unconnects. I know you guys have heard me say that. Ironically, AI was wearing a Red Sox hat when he said that. And last night, the Boston Red Sox defeated the New York Yankees. And that's why I'm tired and sad today. But back to Kyrie. The thing is, Kyrie's got a little bit of time, and he's also got a little bit of a leash with people's patience and how long people are going to go about this adventure with him. And you've heard us speak about it the last 2 episodes. I'm just kind of over it. So Woj put out a story, and that tipped a lot of people off. And I want to read the quotes from Woj's story, the most important quotes from what the Woj bomb was dropped yesterday in the ESPN article. Woj says in that article, if Kyrie remains unvaccinated, the Nets could soon face a decision on whether they'll allow Irving to come and go with the team in and out of New York or just keep him sidelined altogether. So there's a lot of people talking about what's going to happen with Kyrie. Is he going to be with the team? Is he only going to be on away games? Is he in? Is he out? And I will share my personal opinion. I don't know anything. I'm just a fanalyst, Brooklyn Nets fanalyst. I do a podcast. I've been rocking with the Nets since I was a kid. I don't think that you can be half. I don't think that you can be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's one thing or the other. It is a league mandate. Now, I say that to say this. Andrew Wiggins, we just saw Andrew Wiggins on Media Day say, you know, it's my choice, it's my decision. I don't feel comfortable. The reporter said to Wiggins, you stand to lose a lot of money. He said, that's my problem, not yours. He applied for the religious exemption. He didn't get it. And we just saw that he changed his mind. Andrew Wiggins changed his stance. He got vaccinated. He got the shot. And he said it came down to ultimately, does he want to play in the NBA or not? So does Kyrie want to play basketball in the NBA or not? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe playing the NBA is not that important to him anymore or moving forward because of this. His commitment to the NBA has been questioned before. This isn't new. Stephen A. Smith was saying that he should retire. Last year, he took off when he wanted to. He's worked into his contract with the Brooklyn Nets that he could take leaves. We've talked about this for a long time. Next quote from the article. In the Woj article, the next important quote is, under an agreement between the league and players union, Irving could lose game checks of approximately $380,000 for every home game he misses due to the protocols, starting with Friday's preseason home game this Friday against the Milwaukee Bucks. Irving, age 29, is under contract for $35.3 million this season. It's a lot of money. That's bread that most of us will never see in our lifetime. And what I'll say about this is it made me think about Kyrie's family, it made me think about his newborn child, his son, his legacy. And I don't mean to speak on that man's child and family and legacy in a negative way. I'm not. But it made me think about myself. And as a man, having to provide for your wife, your children, and what you just got to do as the breadwinner and the leader of the family. I'm sure Kyrie's got money in the bank, but he stands to lose a lot of money over this. Is it worth it to him? Is it worth it to him? I see you guys in the chat. I'll throw you guys up in 1 minute. Last quote from the article. With the 6-game homestand starting the second week of the season, which that homestand's coming, I'm trying to be at 4 or 5 of those first games in the 6-game homestand. You will see me at Barclays with the Brooklyn Brigade, the block, with the fans in whatever section. I'm going to those games. I can't wait. With the 6-game homestand starting the second week of the season, Irving would be away from his teammates for 11 days before he could work out with them again. That's a situation that will repeat itself over and over for varying lengths. During one stretch in November and December, the Nets are home for 20 out of 26 days. That's crazy, yo. Do you guys think the Brooklyn Nets haven't sat down with Kyrie and had a conversation about this? They have. Do you think that Kyrie doesn't have a plan of action? He does. Do you think that as of October 6th, right now at 4:44 p.m., we need to have that on Twitter for you to read and know or write about and give your opinion on? We don't. You don't get privy to that information. It's business. It's classified information. It's a personal thing. It's a personal decision. And those are the main 3 articles from the Woj thing. And honestly, a lot of people on Nets Twitter were saying, well, Sean Marks uses Woj and Shams to get his messaging out. Now the Brooklyn Nets are pushing back. I don't think the Brooklyn Nets are pushing back. I think the Brooklyn Nets are at a stalemate with this, right? If he had the shot, he would have been there. 1 shot is all you need. Reminder, all he needs is 1 shot in his body to be good to go into the Barclays Center and go to his job in New York. I think there's still a chance. But I also want y'all to know that if there's not a chance, I also don't care. I love Kyrie. That's my favorite player on the Nets. We support Kyrie. I think he is the most fun to watch. I think he's creative. I think he can shoot. He can drive. He finishes at the rim better than anyone. He's got the best handles. I'm a Jersey guy. I'm a Duke fan. Y'all know this from listening to Talkin Nets. I support Kyrie, but I'm on the podcast telling you at this point, we have one goal, bone goal, a championship to win. And this team is deep. The show must go on with or without him. One man cannot derail this train. The Nets are the favorites. The GMs have voted, and they said KD is going to be the MVP. The Nets are going to win the championship. All the general managers pretty much believe that. Cool. Kyrie, if you're in, you're in. If you're out, you're out. I do not think we're going to go halves with this thing. Now, let's go to the chat and throw it what some of you guys were talking about. So, my man Vincente says, bro, you have the same AI voice. I guess I have a similar voice as AI, but it's just been so many years that I've been doing that AI quote. Now, do you think he will play Friday? No. Do I think he'll play Friday? If he plays Friday, that means he got the shot yesterday, today, or tomorrow, or Friday morning. And if you get that shot in your arm, you're most likely not about to play basketball. Like, I don't think Kyrie's playing in the preseason because it's preseason, y'all. I don't know if y'all watch other sports. I watch football, basketball, baseball, and spring training games. Sometimes guys don't play. In the NFL preseason, last year, 2020 showed us that the superstars in the NFL don't need preseason at all. And that carried into this year where they added on another week. They don't care about exhibition games. And if it's a game check, one singular game check, they're not tripping off of it. And last but not least, Mazzy says, can't force Kai to get vaxxed. You can't force anyone to do anything. It is a choice. I'm in New York. They have ads where they're offering people $100 to get vaccinated. There's a bunch of incentives. And people are still saying no. People have 100 reasons why they don't want to get vaccinated. It is a personal choice. Some people don't like needles. Some people don't want shots. Some people are, in their minds, naturally immune or above that stuff. It is a personal decision. But since Kyrie Irving is so powerful, right? That's why I was talking about last episode and the episode before this. I'm like, bro has powers. Like, he's got superpowers. And that's why people are upset. People love him. People want to see him play. There are Nets fans that are like, oh, no, do not take away one of our best players over this vaccine. This is our chance to finally win the chip. Me as a Nets fan, I'm like, oh, we're good. I looked at the roster. I seen the game against the Lakers. I'm like, we got plenty of guys, veterans, young guys, bigs. Doesn't matter. Like, if Kyrie doesn't want to play in the NBA because the NBA is requiring a vaccination, I get it, bro. I get it. I'm not saying I'm with you. I'm not saying that I support that, but I understand it. Here's a quote from KD on Kyrie. Brian Lewis just put this out on Twitter. Kevin Durant on Kyrie Irving's absence. I'm envisioning Kyrie being a part of our team. Maybe I'm just naive, but that's just how I feel. But everybody has their own, here has that confidence in themselves and our group that if we keep doing it, we can do something special. The Nets are planning on winning the championship. This Kyrie thing, it's unfortunate, but Kyrie, if you don't want a ring, that's okay. If you don't want another championship and you're cool with your LeBron ring, that's okay, bro. We support your decision. We support, listen, y'all know Kyrie is into the third eye stuff, the flat earth thinker. He's in his tribe. You know what? Kyrie, I actually love how he uses his platform, right? He just happens to be one of the best basketball players in the world, but he's not your typical basketball player. You know, he's out there with Native Americans that I think the Sioux tribe, which he's like from his mother's side connected to. I think that's cool, man. And if that trumps a game, right? We're talking about practice. We're talking about a game, basketball. These guys dribble a ball, man. They dribble a ball, man. Like, these guys, they put the ball in the hoop. That's what they do. And if that is not as important to you right now, Kyrie, at age 29 versus getting a vaccination, which 90% of the league is vaccinated, it's okay. Like, I'm hoping that a decision is made sooner or later so that we can stop talking about it. Because me as a Nets fan, content creator, podcast host, I get it from all angles. Strangers, people that know me. Oh, what about Kyrie? I can't believe you're supporting Kyrie, man. Oh, but I'm like, yo, I just don't care. It's not that big. Like, yes, I want to see Kyrie play, but I'm not going to be hung up on it. Kyrie, you can't ever ruin my day. There's nothing Kyrie Irving can do that's really going to get me out of pocket. There's nothing Kyrie can say that's really going to make me upset. So on to the next. It's deeper than y'all really think. The NBA Players Union is involved, right? And the NBA Players Union just came out and said that the league shouldn't dock pay for unvaccinated players that are unable to play. So if the Players Association and the Players Union is fighting the league on this right now, Kyrie is part of that. I think they made Kyrie vice president. I forget his position in the union, but he does have a position. So Michelle Roberts is still hoping to get NBA players vaccinated at 100%, but she rejects any criticism about her client's hesitancy. She's prepared to fight the league on withholding pay. The union executive told the Daily News this. We'll see about that, Roberts said Wednesday. We've been reporting that we've agreed that if a player who is not able to play because of his non-vaccination status, they could be docked pay. We do not agree. The league's position is that they can. We'll see. We'll get to that point. We'll see. There is still time. This is all new. This is all still developing. So Kyrie's not alone in it. Kyrie's not alone in it. I'll throw up another one from the chat. Back to Vincente. Love the last KD comment on Kai's situation. He is not on the Nets to give advice to someone. Just trust on the team. They are literally brothers, and I can't imagine Kai and KD separated. Yeah, and a lot of y'all jumped the gun, right? A lot of y'all jumped the gun last week, and there was like a NBA Central tweet where KD had his arm around Kyrie, and it was like, KD is convincing Kyrie to get the shot. Well, over a week has passed. Kyrie's still not vaccinated from what we know, so I guess KD couldn't convince him, and I knew that wasn't going to be the case. They're friends. They're hoopers. They're teammates. And that's it. Like, he's not a doctor, and he's also not like his pastor or like someone like his dad or something. It's not. So Patrick says, still, it's not a good thing to be resistant to education like that. Who's saying that Kyrie is resistant to the education? You don't know what this man has learned. You don't know what this man believes, right? You really can't speak on him being resistant to education or learning. He might just be against needles. Could be simple as that. But obviously with Kyrie, we know it's deeper than that. Feo, what up? Feo says, I never realized how much of a storm the media makes of Kyrie until Keith pointed it out. Now that I see it, dang, it is rapid. It is crazy. I said this guy's got so much power, man. It's wild because he just goes left when everybody wants you to go right. And a lot of times in life, you're going to be forced to conform. A lot of times in life, you're going to be told what to do. And some people that have power and know their power, they're never going for it. Kyrie is just not going for it. Who says I have to color in between the lines? That's Kyrie. Almost every time Kyrie's like, I got to color in the lines. Nope, I'm outside the lines. I can't do this. Who says I can't? I can. Moving on. Didn't want to bury the lead. Got that out of the way. We talking about practice? No, let's talk about a game. How many days left until the first game? 13. Kyrie still has 2 weeks to get vaccinated. How many days left until the first home game? A little more than that. You can count. You guys can count this. I call it the Kyrie Shot Clock. If you guys want to keep counting down the days on the Kyrie Shot Clock, this can go all season. He's contracted to play for the Brooklyn Nets, but the Brooklyn Nets have business to handle. They're not going to stop business for Kyrie, and they're also not on his shot clock. They're practicing every day. They're preparing every day as if he's not here, and if he's not going to be here, that's perfectly fine. One goal, bone goal. I got to bring the bone goal picture up for you guys. I had it in a chat, and I lost it. I'll figure out where that is because I know some people don't understand bone goal. In 2015, when the Nets were the 8th seed and the Atlanta Hawks were the 1 seed, I think I went to game 4. The t-shirt that year was this Brooklyn Nets t-shirt where they put the B from the Brooklyn Nets logo, like in between the, I don't know, the phrase one goal. Here it is. I think I got it. Let's see if I can bring it up. And it was funny for us as fans because when you read it, it says one team, bone goal. Where's it at? 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 I can add it just like this. Ready? Show it right now. One team, bone goal. So you can see it on the screen, and now you'll get my reference every time I say one team, bone goal. That's what I'm talking about. So back to that. One team, bone goal. Your Brooklyn Nets rolled out in the Staples Center and beat the brakes off the Lakers. And like I said in the beginning of the episode, yeah, it's preseason. 2 years ago, we were in China and we beat the Lakers, and people were like, oh, the Nets, man, the Nets. And that, we had a way less talented team. It's preseason. Most of these guys did not play. Most of these guys didn't, it's not that kind of thing. Don't read too much into it. But it was good to see a few of these guys in Nets jerseys, right? I watched the game. I was pleased to see Javon Carter, Bruce Brown shooting the 3 early, not shy about it. DeAndre Bembry, he's got a little swag and movement to him that I like. Paul Millsap, of course, and LaMarcus Aldridge, veteran guys that we've seen in the NBA for 15 years, now on the Brooklyn Nets. It's awesome. It makes me just have this feel of a security blanket when you have guys like that have been in the league. And then even the younger guys, Cam Thomas, another guy that's not shy about it. His first shot, AD pokes the ball away from him. He puts it back up at the buzzer. Cash. Cam Thomas might be a legit off the bench player this year. I'm changing my stance on it, especially if Kyrie's not going to be around. Cam Thomas is not afraid. This guy walked out onto the court, Kobe's court. He's wearing 24 for your Brooklyn Nets, but you all know he's a Kobe guy. He's playing in the house that Kobe built, and I just love how he carries himself as a 19-year-old rookie. And I don't want to put out any negative energy to say he can't do, or that there's too many veterans in the way and that he's not going to get time to play. Cam Thomas, keep working hard and you might get a shot. Kessler Edwards, another young guy. David Duke Jr., another young guy. David Duke Jr. came out and said how all the veterans on the team are like coaches, and they come up and they correct them. They come up and they help them. They come up and they give them advice. And it's a really good culture and environment building. We heard James Johnson talk about the culture and the vibes in Brooklyn with this team. Now, James Johnson didn't play. Kevin Durant didn't play. Blake Griffin didn't play. James Harden didn't play. Joe Harris didn't play. Patty Mills didn't play. And you know what? Kyrie Irving didn't play either. But it was good to see Nick Claxton back. It was good to see Nick Claxton out there, a young guy that he's maturing a little bit. And I think Clax is going to come into his time. Slick Nick says that Cam Thomas might win Rookie of the Year. If Kyrie is not here and that opens up a window for another guard, Cam Thomas, sure. I was arguing that, there's too many veterans. I'm not doing that against our own team and our own draft pick. I lived through the years where the Nets didn't have a draft pick. I love the fact that our draft picks like Cam Thomas and Nick Claxton can be primetime players in the NBA. Awesome. Thanks for the comment. Our defense was outstanding. They weren't doing anything with us. Kept them under 100 in a preseason exhibition game, which is just pickup ball, essentially. No one on their team had more than 15 points. So nobody put up 20. Their leading scorer had 15. That was Malik Monk. The Lakers don't scare me, yo. And I know they have a lot of names, and I know they got a lot of talent. Different names on their team like we do now. Kent Bazemore is a new face. Wayne Ellington is a new face. I already mentioned Malik Monk. Rajon Rondo comes back. This isn't talking Lakers, though, and I don't want to get too deep into the preseason game because it's really just overreactions to, like I said, the first exhibition game. It's just sparring against another team, and it's for TV. It's the first NBA game. These two franchises that everybody wants to meet in the finals. They have them face off in the preseason, and we've met them in the preseason for Mac McClung. I know you guys know Mac, obviously, from the internet, from his dunk highlights and his college time. And Carmelo Anthony's over there, but Melo didn't play. Trevor Ariza didn't play. LeBron didn't play. Westbrook didn't play. Do not read too much into that game, but it's good to have the NBA back. Let's see if I have anything else from my notes. If Bruce Brown can shoot and make threes, like he showed no hesitancy to shoot, like that's different. Last year, all Bruce Brown was good for really was a 2-foot floater. If he can shoot it, that changes the threat that he can be. If he can be a catch and shoot guy, which a lot of people are saying Cam Thomas can be a catch and shoot guy, he knocked one down, then I don't know. The Nets have an assortment of riches. It's just there's so many guys on the team. I can't be worried about them. Something I am worried about, though, is DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard on that team. I don't know how people think that's going to work. One, Dwight Howard has purple dreads, probably the worst hairstyle I've seen in the NBA. It's like a purple dread mohawk, looks like a mop. And then go look up, I think the Nets Twitter, or not Nets, the Lakers Instagram or Twitter put this out, and it's DeAndre Jordan mic'd up, and he's just clowning. Obviously, they're in practice, but I'm like so happy to have DeAndre Jordan not on the team. They can take him. Appreciate you, Lakers. Let's go to another question. Fayal says, stupid question. Which Nets uniforms do you consider starters, and which do you consider bench players? You can assign any. This is a good question. You can assign any number to both categories. Now, the starters are obviously the traditional, like black and white. Let's see. I don't know if you can see the players back here. The icon jerseys. Those are the traditional like starters. They're gonna always wear those jerseys. That's like how the culture started 9 years ago. That's just the Brooklyn look, the Brooklyn way. But I was asking the question on Twitter. I was like, are we getting another Basquiat jersey? And if so, are we getting it in white, or are we running the black jerseys back again? I don't think they're going to run the black jerseys back again. And then also, are we going to get like a throwback vintage hardwood classics like the 1991 light blue jerseys we had? Those are my favorite Nets jerseys. But I'm hoping for like the Jason Kidd style, like, you know, this like navy blue look this year. I don't know. I saw some mocked up, and we should be getting some new jerseys this season. The Nets are swaggy, man. Brooklyn is all about style, fashion, culture. They're gonna look dope out there. We're gonna get the basic black and whites. The whites I'm kind of against because I feel like we lost in the whites in the playoffs, and they're so basic. They're like loose leaf paper or something. Like the white jerseys don't do much for me, but the black is hard. I like the regular black uniforms. All right, we're gonna wrap up soon. There has been a trade. You guys know there's been a trade, but it's nothing crazy. It's nothing like earth-shattering. And speaking of the Lakers game, this guy's one and done. Sekou Doumbouya. A lot of people were getting hyped over Sekou, and like I didn't really read too much into him coming over here. Thank you, Sekou, because I was speaking of DeAndre Jordan. You helped us get him up out of here, but Sekou is one and done. Played one preseason game with the Nets, and he is done. He's been traded for Edmund Sumner. You know, there's one of these trades that, you know, Woj breaks, and people are trying to figure out like who these guys are and what's going on. Indiana is trading Edmund Sumner and a 2025 second-round pick to Miami, via Miami to the Brooklyn Nets. Now, the Nets are going to obviously waive this young man. That was the next tweet from Woj. The next tweet right after, the Nets will waive Sumner, who is out for the season with a knee injury. And I'm not sure. I think the Rockets are going to end up with Doumbouya, which cool. Like, it's just a money thing. I think I read somewhere that it clears up like $5 million in money for the Nets. And it kind of tipped me off to thinking like, is something else going down? And I'll address this. A lot of conversation about the Kyrie and Ben Simmons trade. I'm going to put this on record. I think there is zero chance. I don't think there's a chance in hell that trade actually happens. Maybe it could get done. Maybe like in principle, it could get done. Like the teams could agree to it. But Kyrie already said he would retire. He's not trying to go to Philly over a vaccine. The Nets also aren't trying to ruffle any feathers with the team, with the fans, and make that move for Ben Simmons, who's got his own issues and his own problems. But with this trade with Sumner and Doumbouya, I feel like something else could be going on. Something could be happening. And as training camp opens and teams start to work out and they start to see who they have and what they have, they start to make trades and they start to adjust their roster. So stay tuned. Obviously, the NBA season is about to start. There could be some more reports popping up, some players moving around, some players going elsewhere. But yeah, last but not least, we talking about practice. We talking about practice. Practice in the park. Practice in the park is this Saturday, October 9th. I'm super excited for it. I will be there covering it on Talkin Nets Twitter, on Talkin Nets Instagram. Still working on getting the Twitter back, but for now, follow at Talkin Nets World. I learned more about why the Twitter is suspended, what level of suspension it's at. It ain't great, but I'm not really tripping off that, man. I will physically be out there in Brooklyn with the team, with the fans, with the Brooklyn Brigade, the block. That's how I secured my tickets. And it's just going to be a vibe this Saturday. Hopefully the weather is straight. I think it will be. And we'll get together and watch the guys hoop a little bit. Maybe they'll let us shoot a little bit. And we'll have fun in Brooklyn and just make a little movie out there right on the water. If you guys have never seen the pier parks where those courts are, you get Manhattan in the background. It's awesome. So I'm going to probably do like a vlog style video that I'll put right here on YouTube. But then I'll also put like, stuff on our Instagram story and other pictures and things. And hopefully I can, get some pictures and stuff with the players. That would be ideal. All right. And then next thing is Friday, Bucks game. Kyrie won't be playing in it unless he gets a shot today, tomorrow. And you guys know how I feel about the Bucks. I hate the Bucks. I hate Giannis. I don't know how many of their guys are going to play. PJ Tucker is over in Miami. Saw him play for the Heat. Their big three may or may not play. It's the preseason, but it's the first preseason game in Brooklyn. pretty sure you can get tickets. There'll be fans there. And we're on our way into this season, the 2021-22 season that's supposed to be our championship year. It is happening. The wait is over. It is fun to see. And I won't be there, but I'll definitely be at a bunch of the regular season games. I'm not too worried about preseason. Like I said, it's preseason. It's glorified exhibition. So, all right, let's hit the chat. If you guys have any questions in the chat, throw them up. Appreciate y'all rocking and watching, and we'll keep this one short. It's just one of those like windows in the preseason where it's like there's not too much to talk about. Thanks, Kyrie. Kyrie gives us a bunch to talk about. It's not the greatest topic to talk about, but we still got to speak on it. And I'll go to the chat and see what you guys think. What you guys got to say? Yeah, Feo says free Talkin Nets. We're already free. You know, one thing I learned this week, or I thought about this week, I already knew it. I have a social media background. I worked at MTV doing social media, Fubo TV doing social media, Rock Nation doing some digital marketing, and then even John Boy Media. I came in doing social media and content, and I still do social media for Talkin Nets, for Pinstripe Strong, and wherever else we need help. These platforms, being platform dependent for your business, for your brand, for your podcast, for whatever you do, whatever you're building, it sucks. You're at the mercy of the platform. Facebook crashed this week. Instagram crashed this week. So if you have a whole like business, right? Some people do hair and they advertise on Instagram and Facebook and they book through there. Some people sell things in Facebook Marketplace. Well, like you miss a whole day. For us at Talkin Nets, right? Not having the Twitter and then not having the Instagram, we were down to just the YouTube, and the YouTube is changing. We're working on some things to make the YouTube more full and eventually make it more like some of the other channels on John Boy Media where there's more content consistently. So we can't use it like a social media thing and just throw stuff up. But that day I was like, man, like Talkin Nets is just a podcast and a YouTube right now with no Instagram, no Twitter. And I kind of took a step back, and I've kind of just been thinking about it and preparing and realizing that, you know, these brands are at the mercy of these social media platforms, right? A Twitter can just suspend you for a violation over something that they didn't really warn you about. They allowed you to do and then retroactively pulled the plug on you. Facebook, Instagram, they just shut down because they got hacked. Someone could randomly decide to hack that thing, and they're down for 8 hours or whatever it was. So I don't know. Think about what you're doing. I actually created a TikTok. I have been a long time against TikTok. I'm washed. I'm not trying to be on TikTok because I'm not like a young person like that to be wasting time on there all day. But it's another platform. It's another way to get your content out and get your word out and get whatever you're doing seen, kind of, you know, market yourself. So think about that. All right. Luis, I see you. What up, bro? Ryan, Jack, what's your starting five? Milwaukee 2 weeks from opening night. I don't know. I guess Harden. I'm going to assume we don't have Kyrie. So Harden, KD, Blake, Joe. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on starting five right now. One, because we haven't even seen all these guys in the preseason. We don't really know what they're going to do. You know, Patty Mills could start next to James Harden, and you know, you might see LaMarcus Aldridge at the five instead of Blake as we thought. You might see Paul Millsap work his way in there. It might be Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown started the preseason game. Maybe it's Harden, Bruce, KD. I don't want to put anything on wax as of October 6th of what's my starting five, because we have so much depth and so much talent that like it doesn't matter what the starting five is going to be. I am more concerned this year about rotations. I'm more concerned about Nash making the right decisions of who gets in and who gets out. And yeah, those are good problems to have. When you don't really know who the starting five is going to be, that's a good problem to have. The front office seems very unconcerned about Kyrie playing, which I get. At any point, do they at any point do they become concerned? I don't think it's like this, man. It's business, right? And the state of New York, right? So you also got to think about it like this. There's a bunch of NBA teams across the country. There's an NBA team in Canada. There's an NBA team in smaller markets like Phoenix and San Antonio that don't have this issue. Orlando. The NBA is dealing with what New York State has come down with and what San Francisco has going on. So that really only affects three teams: the Knicks, the Nets, the Warriors. And I think the Nets look at this as like, okay, the whole team is vaccinated and only one guy's not vaccinated. Shocker. Did we think that one guy was going to be Cam Thomas? No. That one guy, no one is surprised, is fighting this. And I think the same way we went on without Kyrie last year and Kyrie put up a 50, 40, 90 season, like, I'm fine with it. I'm telling you guys, I'm fine with it. It's not going to matter. And things are going to change. And there could become a time later in the season or maybe in the next couple of weeks where Kyrie just gives in. Like Andrew Wiggins gave in because he said, ultimately, it's like, do I want to not be vaccinated and not have my job, my career, or do I want to just go ahead and make this tough decision to take the shot and play in the NBA? And he decided he wants to play in the NBA. It's a privilege. It's a privilege. So I just hope that we get some kind of hard lines. I think what is ruining everything right now, and like someone said to me, oh, this Kyrie stuff's a mess. And I'm like, how's it a mess? It's a mess because the media runs with these narratives, and then you got these clowns like Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins who are paid to go up there and basically shit on Kyrie and say all these things. And they talk about potential trades, which they're nothing. They're just clickbait things. They don't know. They talk about trades. They talk about Kyrie playing home games and not away games and practicing with the team away and not like, we're not going to do that. I think we're going to get some hard lines real soon. And if Kyrie wants to chill and stay home and be unvaccinated, he's got a newborn son at home. Take care of your son. Spend some time with your son. We will be fine. The Brooklyn Nets will be perfectly fine. I promise you that. The Nets as an organization aren't really worried too much. Watcher says, I support Kyrie's decision, but I do find his secrecy to be annoying. Why so quiet about the vaccine, but was open about the cortisone shots he took when he first came to Brooklyn doesn't add up? That's a little different. I feel you, but that's a little different, especially with, there's also this whole political angle around the vaccine. It's multi-layered. It's a personal decision. And I just think it's wrong that because these guys play basketball, the public gets to drag them on their decision. It's like a peer pressure thing. And sure, I came on here and said I'm vaccinated. I got vaccinated in March. I drove 40 minutes to get vaccinated. I think it's the right thing to do and the smart thing to do because of what we went through last year, something that I never thought was possible. Like the vaccine, we were all wishing for that vaccine in March, April of last year. We were wishing for the vaccine in this time last year. And now that we have it and people are against it, it's such an American thing, in my opinion. I think it's like American arrogance. Like Americans, they figure out something that can actually like slow this thing down, prevent this thing, save you from dying, maybe lighten your chances of going to the hospital. And Americans are like, I don't know. But the same people smoke cigarettes, drink alcohol, do all types of illicit drugs. It's just a personal choice. Whatever you want to put in your body, no one can tell you what to put in your body. And as far as Kyrie Irving's concerned, if he doesn't want to put something in his body to be able to play basketball, I get it. It's a game. He could go hoop in his driveway if he wants and be unvaxxed. All right, last couple ones. As much as I believe in the vaccine, it's still new and scary to people. And I understand that. Hey, I'm right there with you. It is new. And, I heard someone say something to me. It's just like, they're like, oh, well, what if I grow a third arm? And I'm like, can you stop? You're not going to grow a third arm. There will be billions of people with a third arm, so you'll fit right in. Facts. All right, we're wrapping that up. Right there, we're around 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Appreciate you guys for rocking with me. There are changes to come. There's a bunch of news and things with the Brooklyn Nets to come. The season started. Talkin Nets is evolving and changing. I'm going to make this thing better. I think I told you guys at the last episode of last year or at the end of the run last year that, we made it through our first season and we want this thing to get bigger. We want this thing to improve. And no matter what, I'm going to be at the games with the Brooklyn Brigade and the block. No matter what, I'm going to be in Brooklyn rooting on the Nets like I was for years before I ever did a podcast. But you guys in this Nets community, the Nets fans, are my motivation to keep this going. And, this gets fun when we have actual games to talk about. I don't want to be up here talking about shots. Like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not, we're going to be talking about shots like 3-point shots and layups and reverse dunks, not COVID-19 Pfizer Moderna shots. So that's all we've got. Make sure you guys support the pod, write a review, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, leave a voicemail. I didn't have any voicemails today. You guys are welcome to call or just write in the chat. The voicemail is 201-870-0461. Follow us at Talkin Nets World on Twitter, at Talkin Nets on Instagram, at Talkin Nets on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube. Check us out at the John Boy Media store, the shop.johnboymedia merch store. There's Talkin Nets stuff in there, and I'm working on getting some new things for the kickoff to the season. And that's all we've got. It's almost time. It is almost that time. For me, baseball ended last night. I'm obviously going to watch the postseason, but my heart is not in it anymore. My heart is in the Nets world. Let's go Nets. Let's go Nets. Brooklyn.